Hello, everybody. This is Badger Wild, and we are back with another Space Engineers ship review video. This time, reviewing something cool off of the Steam Workshop pertaining to the Factorum or the Fan Factorum. Fantorum, I think was what we could call it. Well, we'll call this the We'll call this a Fantorum ship. Anyway, if you want to support the channel, if you want to help me out over here so I can put more content out, there are three easy ways to do that. Simply like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe if you want to see more of this content. Definitely, that is the most important one. But without further ado, let's get started. So, today we're going to be looking at the Factorum Escort tender from Iteration. Basically, this is part of I'm officially going to coin this as the Fantorum fleet because this is just all fan made stuff. I've got several of these I'm going to be going through here pretty soon. Most of them are Some of them are official. Most of them are fan built fleets. So we'll be able to go through this. You'll be able to see some pretty cool ships. You may want to get one of these and role play as the Factorum yourself. You can go on and do this, or you want to have a ship you claim in a role play that you've stolen. This is a good one to do it with. DLCs required are Warfare 1, Automation, Signal Blocks, Decorative Blocks, Warfare 2, Heavy Industry, Decorative Blocks 2, Decorative Blocks 3, Contact DLC, Sparks of the Future, and most importantly, Wastelands DLC. We'll give this a thumbs up. And basically, this is to be kind of a combination of a escort ship and a cargo defense ship. And it's only got, as far as I can tell, two main weapons in its arsenal. It's got two main turrets, which are actually pretty dang impressive. I'm going to say that right now. And two sub weapons for defensive capability for smaller targets. Very well thought out, somewhat of a cheap ship in terms of as it's in Factorum terms, it is a fairly a cheap ship. It has some Factorum technology on it, and really, I wish Keen would just grab these ships and just, I don't know, give $100 or some credit to the guy that makes them and put them in there as NPCs. We can actually fight these things because they provide some difficulty. The one thing you will notice about this, as it being a Factorum ship, is this wedge design that they have. They have this cool looking wedge design in all the Factorum ships that I've seen. When you get to about the ship class, they all have this nice, neat little Star Destroyer look to them. This one more reminiscent to the Corvette, the Imperial Corvette. I can't remember what it is called exactly. Somebody in the comment section do tell me what it is. But we've got some very nice options here. Just the way the Factorum ships are built and the way the fans have just kind of taken the concept of build style and just sort of made it work into multiple different units. Now, a long time ago, I did a one on a Factorum Corvette. You will notice that the interior, especially up here, to some extent mirrors that of the original Factorum Corvette, but that's about it. Engineering, everything else is very easily is compressed, but still designed in such a way that it is still a very open concept inside. It's very cool. Before we go on, let's take a look around here. You see, we've got the nice looks of the whites, the gold, and the black that makes this the Factorum. Their sort of embellishment and opulence that the Factorum we've come to expect from Factorum ships, and them thinking that they're better than everyone else. Before we go to the main armament, let's check out the secondary defensive armament, which is a simple quad barrel turret with a lot of embellishments. It's a very well designed, and this is something that I do on mine with my turrets. I will add a small turret control block here because it just saves an extra block. It saves a large block, and I'm doing with two small blocks what I would have to do with a very large block. And so we don't have to have a large block to this. You can actually put them on your turrets, and this will make your turrets functional. These are quad barrel turrets. They will jack up missiles. They will jack up fighters. If you do not pay attention to these things, they will hurt you, and they're very effective. We have one on top, and then we have another one on the bottom, a little bit more off to the front here, giving you a very decent amount of defensive capability and leaving only one real weak point in the very back end of the ship. However, I'd say this is a type of ship that you're not going to be worried about getting hit in the rear end because you're probably going to be turning it into the enemy. And that's where this nightmare comes into play. This is a twin barrel, eight, or no, not eight, nine cannon assault cannon turret. This is 18 rounds of F off, basically, that can be fired in a single salvo that when it hits, it is going to do so much damage on impact. It's also a nice little scattergun effect. Basically, you have a double barrel shotgun on each side of these things that fires a 128 millimeter howitzer round. And unfortunately, it fires 9 of them per barrel. So it's basically the whole get off my lawn. This is what you're going to get. A very cool looking turret, very well designed, I will also state. The beginning of the turret starts right about here, as you can see, and we've got this very nice turret. It's got the opulence, like I said, the gold, the white, and with the black trimming, just to make you know that, hey, you know, we're the Factorum and we are superior to you. Very, very well. Entering the ship, you got to come in from these side ports here. We're just going to land our little man right here. Open up. Wait for the airlock system to take effect. It is using, I think, whips airlocks. Now we've opened up, and we come into the main room here. Now, this area holds 2 things in particular. I believe one of those is the medical bay. And this is a very interesting medical bay because we have, as far as movement room here, we have about 2 blocks of movement here, which doesn't sound like a lot, but this is what you're going to see inside this ship is the proper use of the blocks, stationing them, and the use of several blocks. If we were to go block by block, like I said, you have 2 blocks, 1, 2, right here to operate this entire room. All this other stuff counts as a block, but because we're using vaulted ceilings, we're using equipment and stuff that take up half of a block, it makes the room feel like it's much bigger than the space is actually being used. So the space you're using all but 2 blocks, but it feels like you have 4 or 5 blocks of movement. It makes the thing feel cavernous or very open. Everything kind of falls away from the main area. We've got 2 nice inset, and this is why I said when you're using the right blocks to create a certain action here, you have 2 blocks here that are your cryopods, and they're inset, so it makes it look like, oh look, there's more areas you can go into. You have the, I don't know, is this the new one or the old one? I'm not entirely sure. Let's take a look here. Yeah, that's the new medical bay. So with the new medical bay that we have here, it pulls off here, and then we have our experimental area, our science station right there. Then with these extra areas, it makes it feel like the whole room is just open. We just add a little light on the side there, and everything works out perfectly. We don't have to worry about, well, do we have enough room? We're not getting too cramped. It's a great way to use space, is what I'm saying. You're going to see this with this ship. As we go over to the engineering, you're going to see more of this. You see we got storage compartments sitting right there. We have access to one of our gyroscopes that's on there. I believe there's 3 of them on this ship. But walking in here, we have a full functioning engineering bay, and I'm going to have to do more engineering bays like this. Looking at all this here, you can see we have the same vaulted ceiling effect, but in here we have about 3 blocks to work with. Well, technically, we still only have 2 because this door block right here is going to take up a block as well. This is something you have to worry about when you're doing space engineers. When you're building a ship, you have to make every single block count, and you want it to count so you have the most detail. We have a Factorum battery in here, which is very nice. I've yet to get one of these in my survival game. Actually, we have yet to get any well, we haven't gotten any Factorum stuff. We've got some Factorum parts, but we ain't got no Factorum stuff yet. On that, we have our gravity generator, which is providing gravity to the ship, access to cargo, and our 2 nuclear reactors right here just run like they're supposed to, creating a room that when you walk in, like I said, this particular build, I would suggest getting it off the workshop just so you can get an idea of how you want to build your ships. This produces a whole lot with very little. That's using very minimal space being used here to do the maximum amount. So the first place we're going to go is we're going to drop down here. And a very interesting idea with the ladder system I'm going to have to come up with. One, this ladder comes up and goes out that way, and then this one goes up. I've never seen a ladder system do that, but I'm impressed with it. So coming in here, you can see we've got more corner blocks. We've got more of these vaulted inset wall blocks, just trying to make the room look bigger than it is. You got also these exposed pipe blocks, which makes it's not as claustrophobic as you would think it is. We have access to a cargo container behind a shelf. We also have more cargo here. And going into this room, we have a small mess in this area. We have access to a sink. We have our nifty little stovetop area with plenty of clang soda, mind you, and a first aid kit. We've also got nice little storage here. 2 seats, and as you can see, the way it is, we've still, again, vaulted ceilings, making this thing look as open as possible, using blocks that pull away from the area that we are currently occupying to give us that bigger, more open area. These rails right here to make it look like, okay, it's a safety issue. The rails are there more of an aesthetic, and this aesthetic is you need the rail there because you're going to fall off into a larger section of the ship, which gives you that kind of feel like you're in a bigger than average ship than what it really is. Very well designed. Opening this door here, we go into what is ultimately the passengers' crew quarters, basically. We have a shower and bathroom combination in the back, absolutely necessary. We also have the coffee maker, we've done seen it. But we also have the beds in here, and the beds are set up to be, very open. Again, vaulted ceilings, lots of very strategic use of specific blocks to make this thing appear bigger than it actually is. As you can see, we've got enough space here for a crew of 3, which is awesome. Now, going forward, we're going to go upstairs now into the upper area of this ship. And this is where things get a little bit more familiar if you saw the Corvette video. Past this, we're going to have about the same type of main bridge, but here you can see we have a nice little library for all of our ores. We tend to use this in the Red Rock Raiders server. We were using one of these to put all of our ore deposits that we had found. We copied the coordinates to a data pad and we'd store them in here just so we'd know where it was all at. So you can do stuff like that or put certain coordinates in here for other players to go in and reference. So if you got a new player come in, we just tell them, yeah, just go check out the library over there. It pulls out the library and you've got all the data pads and where everything is. Then back over here, we've got a nice little area, which doesn't have anything going on with it. Just a perfect little seat, kind of like an office space, I suppose, or just something you can sit there and do some communications work with. We have more storage on the side. Always love these little storage racks that give you a whole lot more options to store things in. Looking over here, we've got a nice little fish tank. We have our server, which runs Whip's Auto Doors version 24, or was it version 42, actually. And we have a set of pipes, which are covered up with a grating. So when you get close to it, you can see the insides of that there. We also have a turret control here, and I believe it will allow me to control this gun, and we can see it fire in action. You hear that thud right there. That's 2 salvos of 18 rounds of get the F off of my lawn. That's all that is right there. And it's very rapid fire. I can just hold this down real quick. And you see how fast this thing is firing constantly. Like I said, that'd probably be the cannon on that end of the ship. As we're going forward, we'll head on into the main bridge. You'll see we also got I believe this is a broadcast controller right here that's upside down. So we have, nice uses. Probably has a garage door opener or something to go with it. Hopping into the cockpit, we are now inside the main bridge of the ship. Again, before I keep going, notice the use of the blocks here, the blocks with railings to make it feel like you're going to fall off the ship. Like this is an open area, you're going to fall off. Great methodology of building, and just an impressive way of making the ship feel bigger than it really is. It gives that sense of opulence, but it also gives that sense of advancement that the Factorum have become to be known for. Starting off here, we have number one is our, I believe this is some type of thrust override. Yeah, that's a thrust override, basically. Number two is decrease of thrust override. Number three turns on probably our smaller maneuvering thrusters. Number four is our main thrusters. Number six on here is a one of the inset connectors. Number eight is one of the turrets. Let's see here. Number nine. What does number nine do? Autopilot enabled. Ah, that's interesting. So number nine is an autopilot. Page two, number one is a piston. Where is that at? We'll turn the piston on. Where is it at? Do we see it? Oh, oh, huh. It gets excited. Huh, imagine that. So apparently this is for moving up a long range, sticking in and pulling your ship into position. Number two probably locks and unlocks that. Number four is probably oxygen refill. Number five, no, that's hydrogen refill. Number five is a hydrogen refill also. Number seven is our reactors. Number eight is our batteries, whether you want to turn them on and off or recharge. And that is it. As far as speed, let's see how this baby works. Just a nice good look at the back end of it. Hit this, and as you can see, it moves really well. Picks up speed rather nicely, and because of the custom turrets, I tell people all the time, you want to do custom turrets on a ship like this, because you can exceed the speed limit with a custom turret as long as it's messy. You see right there, we're pulling 100.25 meters per second, getting up to 130. Ships with custom turrets tend to go faster. Don't ask why. As far as maneuverability goes, we have a good ability. We can move up and down. We can do a fairly decent roll because of the length of this ship. It has the ability to do some good rolls. We can pull side to side. It works very well. Kind of a difficulty in slowdown speed, though. It does take a bit to slow it down. That is the one thing I noticed. But it's designed to take off and charge after things. Get out there, get something, turn, and then come back to base as quickly as it can. So, with the coverage and the guns on this thing, it is a very viable ship if you guys want to use one of these in your next playthrough, or you want to role play as the Factorum or use this in a machinima. This is a pretty good ship to do, and it's awesome that the community is taking this faction and giving them all kinds of ships. It's going to flesh them out really good. We'll probably see them in Space Engineers too at some point. But as usual, I am Badger Wild, saying stay safe, stay frosty, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye for now.